Hi, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. My name is Jack. So this video is going to be all about scaling your YouTube campaigns. So I'm going to share a case study of how we started off spending around £100 a day as a starting budget on a YouTube campaign, and we're now spending £2,500 a day on that exact same campaign. So this is a campaign that we launched back in February on the 17th, 2022, and it's now June the 4th, 2022, as of filming this video, and we're spending, like I say, £2,500 a day, and we started back at £100. So there's a few things we did to enable that campaign to last that long and to enable us to continually be scaling it. So there's things we changed, there's things we added into the mix, things we took away, different testing procedures, and I just want to run that through with you on this video because I think there's going to be a lot of value that you can get from it. So please drop a like below, subscribe to my channel, and hopefully I will be filming future videos on this exact campaign and showing how we've been able to scale it past 5K, potentially all the way up to somewhere like 10K, and I think there's even further and further limits that we could push this to. But right now it's really good to see how it's grown, and I want to share that on a video with you. So let me jump into it. Here you can see the campaign at the beginning. Okay, so February 17th when we launched it, this is just one campaign in the account. Now, for some reference, this is a client that we have that has an online course. So we generate leads, and then those leads mature into sales over around 13 days is the sort of lead to sale ratio that we've had over several years of working with this client. So we've got a good sort of data set there. Now, our CPL, our cost per lead targets, is around like £5 to £10 depending on the location. So obviously this is a US campaign, so it's a little bit more expensive typically, but we'd like to see it under £10 a lead, and that is very profitable when they convert into sales. Now, what I'm looking at always is not just the cost per lead, because we can get dirt cheap leads by doing certain things, but it's not going to enable us to have cheap sales. We want high quality leads, but at some point we just have to get volume through that funnel as well, because if we're relying on a few campaigns that have maybe spent £50, have one lead and one sale, well, that's great, but we need to be able to spend multiple £1,000s a day, and we need to have consistency with this. So it's sort of looking at both metrics there. It's looking at the cost per lead as that initial point, and then we're also looking at, okay, well, what is our CPA, what is our cost per sale, because that's obviously the hardest metric that we need to hit, because if we're ultimately not hitting that, we can't scale. There's no revenue to feed these campaigns with. So day one, wasn't too concerned here. We had 3 leads at £34 a lead. So like I say, we're aiming for like sub £10, or at least around 15, and again you'll see how these stats are sort of playing out over time. I think the campaign is currently around £15 a lead, but it's fine because of the cost per sale is comparatively very low, so it's pretty good in that sense for this specific client. But yeah, anyway, first day of running the campaigns, 3 leads at £34. Just a note, we're using Hyros as a third-party tracking tool, so you can see here when I'm looking at these campaigns, this data is not straight from Google Ads. Let's have a look. Google Ads said 2 conversions at £51 conversion, so similar. Okay, just Hyros reported one more there, and you'll be able to see the kind of accuracy. We're sending back the highest quality data we can. I'll do other videos on this, but we're sending back like server-side data. We've set up Google Tag Manager to push different events through, like GA4 events, back to Google Ads, so that we can report with a high degree of accuracy into the platform. But I'm not going to pretend that it's 100% accurate. It's definitely not. It's just the sort of best way we found to do that. So anyway, one thing I know from running campaigns on Google, before I kind of run through this, hopefully get some context, is that they benefit from time, they benefit from optimizing. So I'm not too concerned if day 1, day 2, day 3, they're not where they need to be. I understand that it's probably going to take a few weeks for the campaigns to really mature. Now, if there's no positive data early on, I'm going to be looking at it a little bit more kind of tentatively, and I'm going to be looking to cut it and make changes. However, I'm not going to jump in and micromanage it too much, and I've done that in the past, and it makes a lot more work for me and a lot less results for the clients. I understand specifically with Google, comparatively to how I'm running Facebook, Google is taking a little bit longer to mature and start seeing results. So anyway, let's move on. So you can see here, that was just the first day of running the campaigns. Let's just kind of work out for the rest of February. Okay, so the 17th through the 28th of February, we started to see some more results. So we're looking at around £15 a lead and 4 sales of £500 a sale. Now at this point, I'm thinking, okay, this is not too bad. That's still profitable, but I would like to get it a little bit lower, around the kind of £300 per sale mark for this specific client. Works quite well. Again, they've got a high ticket course, so anything around that is fairly profitable at scale, and they have upsells, etc. So the LTV becomes larger in this example. So yeah, not too bad. If I break this down a little bit more by clicking on it, you can see here we've got a few different ad sets. So I was testing a few different audiences. So historically, keywords has worked the best for us. So I was testing a keyword stack that's worked very, very well. I was also testing some topics, and I was also testing broad. So this is just saying, look, go out and find people. Okay, I'm not even really concerned about who. I'm just saying no targeting at all, letting the ads do the targeting, and just allowing Google and YouTube essentially to just throw it out to the people that it believes is going to respond the best, and then tailor the results based on that. In-market audiences and video placements. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different audiences there that I'm running. At that point, keywords I think is the only one that's spending any money, and you can see that. Now let's just go back to the campaign level and let's cycle through. So that's February. Let's have a look at how March performed. I'm just going to go a little bit quicker just so we can kind of see the scaling up. And again, just to, if I go right back, the reason why I had it on February the 17th is just so you can actually see the spend. So I'll show that very quickly again, because obviously the budget's 2.5k a day right now, but you can see the cost was £103. So I think the budget was £100 and it spent like, it spent just a little bit over that. If we go to, like, for example, let's just go to by the end of March, let's just kind of see how that was looking. We scaled that up to, okay, cool. So it's around like 300 a day, 350 a day. It's what it was spending, okay, on that specific day. So again, if you look day before, for example, might be a little bit more, a little bit less. 303, yeah. So the budget was around 300, 350 at that point, okay. So we scaled up quite nicely. If I just look at the results throughout March, again, you can see this. I'm going to talk about the actions we took to generate some of these results and how we were approaching things in a second, but I just want to give some sort of stats and context. You can see here 13 sales reported back, £511 per sale, 572 leads at £11 a lead. So the lead cost has come down. It's working quite well now, sort of within our KPIs, and 13 sales. Now, 13 sales, again, it's not terrible. It's not too bad at £511, but we'd like to see it reduce. So at this point, we were doing a few things. One is testing the audiences, okay? Now, broad was at one point spending quite a lot of money. You can see it's actually not spent too much in March. I think I only activated broad at a certain point, so I think I brought this one in later if I remember correctly. Currently, we're spending the most on keywords and topics, which is fine. Video placements basically never spent much money at all. The videos I selected, the placements didn't have that much reach, so I ended up just cutting that campaign, or that placement, I should say, that audience. Broad I added in, and you'll see it ends up spending quite a lot of money, and then I cut it ultimately because of the sale rate is just not where it needs to be. So currently we're spending on keywords and topics. Now at this point, I'm thinking, well, it's working okay, but it's like by the time you take away expenses, etc., it's not too far off. Like, it's profitable, but it's not great. Okay, so we need to generate more profit and be able to scale before, or generate more profit before we can scale. So what I did was I started adding in and working, and the business owner was working on the creative side. Now this had a huge impact, because the creatives obviously that we're leveraging are essentially, they're the touch point with the potential customer. And it's incredible to see the difference between the creatives that were working and producing sales, and I will break some of this down in a minute so you can see, and the creatives that just didn't perform. Maybe they were performing in terms of lead, but the cost per sale that was attributed back to those creatives was just like, it's up to 10 times higher than some of these winning ones. So at some point, and you'll see here as I go into April, we added in some new creatives, and this really enabled us to scale. So here you can see it drop down, okay, to £283 a sale from 500. So it's literally like, it's not quite half, but it's getting there, okay, at 99 sales, and the cost per lead dropped right down as well by almost half to £5.91 per lead. So this enabled us to scale quite aggressively, because if I look at where we were at the end of April there, we were spending, what was the cost? Around £1,000 a day. Okay, so again, you can see there, and that's like 7 sales at £152 on that one specific day. So long story short, over April, it's worked extremely well, generating 4.7 thousand leads, and like I say, basically 100 sales at £283 per sale. So great metrics there. And the lever that enabled this to happen was adding in new creatives. And let me just dive into that creative section for you, just so you can actually see that, because I don't want to just say all this stuff and it not working, and it not kind of, it not be represented essentially in what I'm actually demonstrating. So if I go into keywords, which was, keywords and topics are kind of our two winners in terms of the audiences. And you can see here the difference. Okay, so this one had 19 sales at £557 per sale. Scrolling through here, you see a lot of these just didn't have any sales attributed. A lot of these are turned off. Let me go to the other ad set. So there's really like one winner in there that was producing sales. I believe the topics is the one that popped off. Yeah, 73 sales at £200 per sale. So this is actually the same creative. So the same creative was winning in both audiences, both ad groups. The difference is in this ad group, it was obviously a perfect fit for the audience, and it was able to scale. Okay, so Google put a lot of the spend behind it. You can see there's a lot of creatives in here that were running at the same time. But this one specific creative, 73 sales at £200, which is way within KPIs. You can see here versus like 2 sales at 680. Again, I'm not too concerned about that. I'm not turning those off, because if I turn everything off and I only allow Google to spend on like the 1 or 2 winners, I'm going to burn through those winners a lot quicker. So I'm going to have creative issues in that sense. I'm going to get creative fatigue, ad fatigue very, very quickly. And more importantly than that, different people respond to different campaigns. So like this one here, it spent, this has got a slightly higher cost per lead, but it had 2 sales at the time at £43 per sale. So I'm not concerned about that. And that ad is still on. So I'm allowing Google to spend where it wants to. I'm feeding it with more creatives. The business owner, the creative team are working to produce higher quality creatives all the time based on feedback. And then from there, they're able to scale things up, okay? And Google Ads is able to scale things up, and I'm able to scale things up as the manager of that, okay? So it's working extremely well, but what I'm not doing is just cutting things when they're not, like when there's comparable campaigns that are better or comparable ads that are better. I'm not just cutting everything and being left with nothing, because then there's no room to scale. So I understand that each different ad might have a higher CPL, but it might also have a lower CPA. So you've got to look at things a bit more globally and not completely at this micro level all the time. It's a blended kind of way of looking at things. You want to look both micro and macro, and that's at least currently the way I'm approaching things. Let's have a look at May, and then that's kind of wrap things up. So May, if we just go back to the campaign level, you can see here we've now started to increase our cost per purchase slightly, okay? So it's actually gone up, not quite double, but it's gone up by like around £100, just over. But look at the sales numbers. We've also generated 144 sales. You can see the cost per lead has also increased, and you can see that's why we track those metrics, because there's a direct correlation between higher cost per lead, higher cost per sale. We're also running additional campaigns, webinars, etc. for this client during this time. So there's that to consider as well. But yeah, 144 sales in May for a £404 CPA. Again, some of those creatives are starting to fatigue, so we're starting to add more creatives into the mix, but we're scaling budgets as well. And I understand that the cost per sale is going to increase slightly as I increase the spend. So we're now spending £2,500 a day versus spending around £1,000 a day. So there's a lot more that's happening within the account. But again, this is very profitable, and this is way better than the beginning where we were spending maybe 200, 300 at £500 a sale. And this enables us to have 144 more customers from this one campaign per month, meaning we can increase the LTV of those clients. So if we can scale this up and add in new creatives, feed this machine, we're then able to reduce this over time. So one thing I also want to share with you is looking at the campaigns over a larger date range. So as well as looking at it kind of day to day, which I very rarely do with this account, looking at it kind of week to week, which is a lot more what I'm basing my data and decisions off, because if we're spending £2,500 a day and we have one day where we don't make a sale, should I turn that campaign off? Probably not, because if you look at it over the last 7 days, the last month, the last 2 months, it's generating a lot of sales. So it would be incorrect for me to make decisions on a day-to-day basis. I do look at the account daily, but I do not manage it daily in my decision making. Instead, what I look at is both a 7-day window. I'll sometimes look at a 3-day window. Again, with this account, 3-day windows are not valuable because it's about a 13-day lead to sale time. So I'm looking at it over the last 7 days, the last 14 days, the last 30 days, the last month, things like that, to enable the ads to have their up and down days, because the results are not going to be linear every single day. They're not going to be just gaining steadily. There's going to be a great day, a bad day, a good day, an okay day, a great day, a bad day. So I understand that. And that's why I'm also looking at it on over multiple months. So here you can see March the 1st and May the 31st. Looking at it over an average over those 3 months, it enables us to see, well, actually we're well within KPIs. Okay, so we're under that £10 CPL, and we're also under our target, and we're hitting that target exactly really of where we want to be of around 300 to 400 pounds a sale for this specific client, which enables us to scale. And you can see the volume here, we're pushing through 256 customers for a high ticket product. And as I mentioned, this doesn't even include the LTV and other upsells. So it's extremely valuable and profitable to look at things over not just a short time frame, but a long time frame. And that's very, very important because there's seasonality. Some weeks, some months, some times, you're going to see a spike, then you're going to see a drop, a spike and a drop. So you want to look at things both micro and macro, and you want to look at things over a short time frame to make sure they're working. But you also want to look over a larger time frame, a larger date range as well, so you can understand how the campaigns are performing, and it can give you that confidence to allow you to absorb the bad days, allow you to absorb the bad weeks, for example. Now, there's a limit to that because you don't want to be spending money where it's not working. But if you're constantly chopping and changing without looking at the overall results, you might end up cutting something that's actually got a lot of longevity in it, and therefore you're making your own job harder because then you're changing things that can sometimes take you in the wrong direction. So look, I hope you got a ton of value from this video. Thanks for watching it. Please drop a like and subscribe below. I'm going to be filming a lot more videos about both Facebook campaigns, Google campaigns. If you're interested in working with me and my agency, there is a link in the video description where you can book a call with me and we can discuss exactly how we can help you and your business grow and scale online. Thanks very much.